algorithm. Starting yourself off with a hot and spicy fight card of UFC 300, 30 years in the making. Let's start off with the first fight of the evening. We've got Bo Nickel versus Cody Brundage. 1-10-5, 1-5-0. Both won their last fights, both from the United States. Roughly around the same height, and they're the same weight. Bo is a 4-inch reach advantage. Here are the odds for win by different various outcomes. As you can see, people are more favorable of Bo Nickel winning by submission and more favorable of Brundage winning by knockout or TKO. And only 20% say Brundage will win by decision, while 0% say that for Nickel. Interesting. Significant strikes, as you can see here, 2.76 landed per minute, 1.8. 62%, 55%. Bo Nickel has been in less fights, so that's why he was way less absorbed per minute. And his defense is a lot higher. The betting odds right now are unreal. This is the highest differential in history. So do with that what you will. I personally feel that Bo Nickel will win. I believe he'll just be too much for the guy. We've seen him only a couple times in the octagon, but every time we've seen him improved and better. And I believe this is kind of just one of those fights where the winner is obvious from the beginning. No offense to Brundage. If you win, good for you, but I'm writing my chips on Bo Nickel.
Yeah, same here.
All right, let's go up to Charles Oliveira. One second here. Okay. Charles Oliveira, 34-9. Well, Arman Sarukian, you can still hear me, right?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Arman Sarukian is 21-3. Both won their last fights. 5'10", 5'7". He's got about an inch and a half reach advantage there.
Reach and height is very, very different. Let's hope that doesn't really screw up Artman.
So we will see. We're going to go into our detail from Daniel Cormier that we diligently watched. Let me pull it up. Switch the screen. Detail. Charles Oliveira. All right. Aaron, this is all you.
Alrighty. Oliveira versus Lee. We got head never stays on center line, which is very good. You always want to keep your head moving. Always want to keep the head moving. After Lee hits him good, he shoots for a takedown, ends up on the bottom. Constantly throwing up submissions from his back, which is highly from him. Absolutely. Oliveira sets trap for Lee by throwing up a lazy punch. Lazy push kick. So Lee grabs it, then Oliveira gets guillotine submission. Yeah, he likes to do that. Every single grapple that you can think of from the opposite teammate, Oliveira just quickly counters it. Doesn't matter, he will counter it.
Yeah, pretty much. As you can see here, Oliveira versus Chandler. Chandler puts him in a guillotine choke, which Oliveira escapes by pressing his weight towards Chandler. A good note here is Oliveira is not good on the back foot. If the pressure is against him, that's when he really struggles. He's at his all-time best when he is the one pushing the pace and going forward. He did land a nice, good check left hook to knock Chandler down and ultimately get the win. And then in Oliveira versus Poirier, a fight which I did not love having to rewatch. Whenever Dustin is in range, Oliveira reached behind his head and blasted body knees into his body constantly. He throws the right hand into a body lock, slipping the hook to get to his back and win by rear naked choke. Oliveira is by far, I believe, one of the best submission artists we've ever seen, especially in the modern era. He is unlike anybody else that we've ever seen, and he's got striking as well. People know him for his grappling, but you cannot underestimate his striking. He's coming off a win by knockout against Beneil Dariush. These are the odds. Obviously, they favor Oliveira getting a win by submission. They believe Arman is the favorite. As you can see here, 3.54 landed, 2.85. Significant strikes are a little bit different. Defense is pretty close. Arman gets hit a little less. Arman's last fight was also against Beneil Dariush, where he also won by devastating knockout. Yeah, I know that Arman Sarukian is supposed to be the new up-and-comer guy that's supposed to come in and remove the old guard and replace him, but I simply do not see it. We've had these fights recently where the first one was at 286. It was with Gaethje and Fiziev. Then recently, the last card, 299, Benoit Saint Denis versus Poirier. Every time the old guard has beaten these new up-and-coming prospects, and I believe it'll be the same result here tonight. I believe Arman is overconfident, and that will lead him to underestimate his opponent. And ultimately, I'm taking Charles for the win.
Yeah, same here. I was going to go for Charles as well.
All right, now you've got Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway. All right, we do have a detail for Max Holloway. Let me flip on over there. All right. Aaron, why don't you take this one?
Got it. Holloway versus Aldo. Holloway slaps Aldo's hand to try to create an opening for his right hand. First round, he mostly just feints so he can map out Aldo's reaction to different strikes. Yeah, he likes to do that. He likes to faintly do it. He'll slap your hand whenever he can, just so what reaction will he get from it? So with that, he demolishes with his hooks. It's incredible. Shifty footwork allows Max to get a nice left body hook into a right hook to the chin. That is very true. Great job diversifying his striking attack. Now, with his stuff, man, it's pretty well. But I'm hoping he learns from his last fight with Poirier. No, sorry, not with Poirier.
That wasn't. That was years ago.
Oh, okay. Well, with the Poirier fight that we watched, Poirier did deserve it. I will give it to him. He outclassed him.
He beat.
He did. He really did. Max couldn't really keep up, but he didn't gas though. He did not gas. He kept on the fight, and yeah,
it's coming up a weight class, coming up 10 pounds. The Poirier fight when he last fought at 155, because he normally fights at 145. It's where he was champ for years and everything. Was on like 4 weeks notice. He's put on the right muscle the right way. He looks a lot physically better. The key questions here for this fight are, can Max Holloway ultimately, can he keep up the same pace that he melts people with at featherweight in moving up to lightweight? How does he handle the power of someone like Justin Gaethje, who has dynamite in every part of his body? How does he handle the pace, the pressure of Gaethje? How does he handle fighting with all this new muscle and weight and getting comfortable with all of that through possibly 25 minutes? Now, of course, these guys are both veterans of the sport, both been around for a very long time. Over here, we have a win by knockout and TKO, 80% to 46%, 4%, 8% by submission, 46% decision, 16% decision. I mean, Justin Gaethje literally has more fight bonuses than he has fights in the UFC. Every fight he's in is a gladiator war where there's nothing but blood, sweat, and death in his opponent's eyes.
Not to mention him receiving the BMF belt, of course.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. When you look at his striking, both of their striking is so technically sound that this will be a war. This will come down ultimately to who can outlast the other. Now, with that said, there was a big announcement yesterday at the press conference to give to give everybody on this historic fight card a
300,000, right?
Yeah, $300,000 bonus opportunity, which is unreal.
Yeah.
So obviously a little more motivation there, but I do ultimately believe that Justin Gaethje's power is just going to be too much.
I believe so too. I really do. But he would have to gas out Max Holloway or knock him out clean.
Yeah, I think he could knock him out, or he could.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Last him. Don't know yet. All right, let's. Now we are looking at Yao Jianan versus Zhang Weili. And I do have a detail for that. Let me pull that up.
Weili is a gladiator. I will give you that.
Weili is one of probably my second favorite or third favorite female fighter to watch. She's very good with her pressure, good takedowns that she got in this fight against Joanna. She struggled when her opponent Joanna went southpaw, so it'll be interesting to see. I believe Zhao Nan, I don't know if she is.
Also great punching power too. Did you see the big old bump that was on the opponent's forehead?
Yes.
That thing was huge.
Hematoma is the term. Where is the thing that tells me? Hold on. I want to make sure I'm right when I say this. I just need you to tell me which daggum stance she fights out of. Here, I guess we're just gonna have to actually Google it.
Technical difficulties.
I am not getting an answer, but if she does fight out southpaw, it's something Weili needs to look for and be aware of, and being humble enough to address that she's had a problem with that in the past. Ultimately, Zhang Weili has showed her evolution in getting better for each fight is really unmatched, and I deleted the UFC 300 tab. Wow, aren't I smart? So I mean, I honestly believe that Zhang Weili is just too good. I mean, if we look at her last fight against Amanda Lemos, she got her in a crucifix and she just battered her. I mean, it was a 50-45, which is unreal. It was a slaughter. It was like 300 strikes to 6.
Yeah. She's nuts. She's nuts. I definitely do give credit to her coaches for sure.
Let me see what the last fight exactly was. Hold on. No, I don't want to. What are we doing? Oh my word. Okay, here we go. Total strikes 296 to 29. Her opponent only landed 29 strikes. Zhang Weili had 6 takedowns out of 7 that were successful. Zhang Weili is just too good. Obviously, she can be beat just like anyone can, but I do not see that being the case. So I am going with Weili.
Yeah, me too. Same thing on this one.
All right, now we go to the main event of the evening: Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill obviously hasn't fought in quite some time since UFC 283. Obviously, now we're in UFC 300, so I'll let you kind of date that, historians, if you will.
He's had a lot of time to basically train. So,
Well, not really, because he tore his Achilles. He was out. That's why he hasn't fought. He tore his Achilles, so he was out for a year and vacated his belt. So that's how
Okay.
Pereira ended up getting it. He won it from Prochazka. A lot of people originally, when this main event was announced, and by a lot of people, I mean every idiot casual fan that claims to not be an idiot casual fan, were complaining about this main event. But I've called this main event for months because it has such a rich storyline that it is perfect for UFC 300. Jamal Hill goes to Glover Teixeira's hometown, home city, home country of Brazil. Home country. I don't know if it was exactly where he's from. But anyway, and beats the ever-loving brakes off him. Glover Teixeira is Alex Pereira's best friend, mentor, and coach. Alex Pereira was in his corner during that time. And you could see the death stare that he gave Jamal Hill afterwards. You knew right then and there that this fight has to not only be next and happen as soon as it possibly could, but then when it did, it would be absolute fireworks. We have a Rocky versus Drago scenario here. It is the most rich storyline you could have, especially for a historical event like this. Jamal Hill coming from the streets of Michigan and growing up the way he did. Alex Pereira from being a drunk alcoholic in a bar to being UFC champion not once but twice in 2 different weight divisions now. This is literally the battle of giants. And I believe that it will not only be one of the greatest light heavyweight fights in recent memory, it'll be one of the greatest fights in recent memory. Jamal Hill, an excellent striker who can rely on his wrestling if need be. Alex Pereira with the most fascinating and significantly amazing striking ability out of anyone in the UFC roster. He has dynamite in his left hook. It is all anyone can rave about. His last fight didn't make it out of the second round. He is deadly, but he is beatable. Adesanya has beaten him. Jamal Hill has been working and consulting with Adesanya for this fight. There is so many different factors that we can look at. The significant strikes, Pereira has an advantage. Absorbed, it's pretty similar, just a little bit of difference. Defense, pretty similar, just like we said. But Jamal Hill statistically lands more per minute than Pereira. I truly believe that most people will disagree with me, Jamal Hill will beat Alex Pereira.
Yeah, I'm on Jamal Hill's side, on his side right now. So, yeah, he's a great kickboxer. I know that for sure. Those hit kicks, they're deadly. They're deadly.
I feel like he just has too much, and it'll be a great show for everyone. All right, guys. Well, that is all we have for you tonight. Thank you once again for tuning into the Fight Algorithm.